All right, hi there. I'm Brandon with Radio K at South by Southwest, and I'm here with.
Minimal Schlager.
How has South by Southwest been for you guys so far?
It's been fantastic. We've played 7 shows in 6 days, and wow, it's been a blast.
Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, no, a lot of shows, man. A bit, my energy is going a bit down, but no, it's going. Yeah, it was a great experience. Yeah.
Is this your first time at South by Southwest?
Second time we were here like 2 years ago, but it's been quite a different experience since we last time was during COVID, or that edition was like in between, and it's been a much fuller experience in this time. Yeah.
What was different about last time? What was it like a few years ago?
Well, first of all, there were less bands and less venues. I guess everybody was like coming out of a bit of a trauma. Like in Germany, it was a bit of like a harsh lockdown. I don't know how it was here, but like we were definitely not as social as we feel now. And for the band, we were less experienced. It was, I think, our fourth show ever, first festival experience. So yeah, it came maybe like a lot of like was really everything was new for us, and this time yeah we really definitely felt more experience.
Say overall, this South by Southwest has just been more enjoyable then?
Yes, first of all, because we have around 40 gigs behind our backs, which gave us, I think, the perspective to conceive the shows that we wanted to do as well. And it's just been so enjoyable to be able to play in front of the Austin audience, the global audience that came to this festival. We've played amazing venues with great sound. So to us, being able to sound good with the music we do is crucial. So that made everything so much better.
Do you have anything you want to add?
No, that's it, I guess. Yeah,
Awesome.
no,
All right, and I guess before we get any further, how would you to those of you, the people at home who don't know, how would you describe your music?
Well, we do a bit of everything, to be honest. Like we started doing a bit of synth-pop, but now we are developing into a more like punkish techno vibe. Still very psychedelic. So I don't know. Like, I mean, I could throw you like adjectives around, but I could be like, I don't know, like psychedelic goth techno from Berlin mixed with pop, something like that. But I mean, we're doing the kind of music that sometimes we would like to, when we go to places to party, that we would like to listen to. There are some songs which are more introspective, more intimate. Others of them they are just more, how can I say it, like more euphoric. Yeah, I mean, I guess we try to process our experience through the music. So I don't know how to define it, to be honest. Yeah, but yeah, dance music you can dance to, music you can be happy with or sad.
Awesome. And from my understanding as a duo, how does kind of the instrumentation work between you? What's the workload difference?
Well, we're based both, like in Berlin and London, and we have different studios there. So we write songs on our own. We try to produce them as much as we can. Then we meet once a month or every 6 weeks, or we mail the ideas, we call each other, and I'm producing most of the stuff, but Alicia now is taking over a lot of the production work too. But we do everything. Like, for example, there are some solos in the new songs where I had idea, Alicia developed them, then I polished them, she like changed something, and then I recorded, but then she didn't. Oh, but you missed that, so then she edited that, and then we resampled the thing, and then reamp it. So, to me, it would be like a bit awkward to define the line, like you do this or you do that, because this being this a collaborative effort. We rely on each other's perspective, so yeah, we supplement, we balance each other very well. Or we try to.
Anything you'd like to add to that?
That sums it all up.
Awesome. I guess I'm kind of curious then. You know, with I saw your show last night at the 13th floor.
Oh, nice. That was intense. Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, you didn't see it coming, maybe.
And what I was gonna say is that I guess I was surprised at the amount of instruments you have on stage. You
Yeah.
know, I feel like I've seen other performances of duos, and they use maybe more backing tracks or have
Yeah.
more of a backing band with them. What is kind of the live performance for you? I mean, from what I had seen, I had assumed there's a drum machine, a few synths, a guitar.
Yeah, we have like a few instruments that are sequenced with each other. Yeah, there is a backing track thing, but it's most of the songs is loop based. What we're doing is basically we are mixing the whole performance. Like for example, we are routing vocals in a very different way, so we can mess, with delays and reverbs. We're filtering stuff like it could be a DJ set. Some parts we just play the guitar, the other parts. I mean, it's the idea is to build a certain experience. So, like every set that we do, it has to be like a whole. So there is like we try to build dynamics, go from like a more intimate setting or feeling to a more party one, and we try to establish a certain intimacy with the audience. And I think that sometimes that intimacy starts being very quiet, but then it needs to get very physical. So yeah, all the instruments are there like in order to manipulate that experience, to get us closer to the audience and the audience closer to us. Yeah.
And I guess I'm curious then, Alicia, with with the lyrics, are you the one who come up with them for the most part? Do you share that between the two? Or how does the process of lyrical development come about?
It really depends on the song because, as Francisco mentioned, this is a collaborative project. So sometimes he would have an idea, and then I would be like, maybe I can sing it this way, and then those lyrics change over time. Or, for example, I write a lyric, and he's like, the idea is great, but maybe you can develop the chorus more. Let's see what you come up with. And so it's not like set in stone. It's either we write together or we push together to write, better lyrics as well. And most of the times comes from on experiences, dreams, feelings, or maybe you watch a film and that inspires you somehow. So yes, it's there's quite a variety in the process.
Are there any lyrical themes that you find consistent throughout your music, or you try to input like intentionally, or is it kind of just happen to fall in there?
It has to somehow fit within the synth-pop melodrama world that we are building. Yes. So it's like, is there enough drama in this song? Okay, check.
Fair. And I guess on that point, I kind of, from my would you I guess somewhat categorize like your music? I've heard, kind of synth pop, kind of, it's kind of in that goth realm. Do you intentionally try to keep a sense of like melancholy with the music, or is it just kind of what comes out?
I think we're very melancholic people. I don't know, like I mean, as you can see in our outfits, it's not like, yeah, guys, life is beautiful. No, that doesn't really happen that often. I mean, obviously we enjoy living and doing stuff, and we love what we do, but yeah, let's say we're not the happiest people in this in this sense. So yeah, we're very melancholic, and I think we like very melancholic music too, and we are very introspective in our own way. Yeah, and that drips into the music somehow.
What are some artists that have influenced you guys?
Well, just I will let also Francisco talk, but just to give you an idea, we're flying back tomorrow so we can catch the Pixies play in London on Monday. Really important, influential band for us, but also other like completely different styles, such as in the synth 80s where you could take New Order, for example, but we listen to so many types of music from so many times in history that it would be hard for me personally to give you all the ingredients of the cocktail.
How about for you?
For me, it's like, I don't know, man, like anything that give me goosebumps, which is like what we're trying to do, you know, like we're like very demanding with everything we write. Like we want it to be like their thing. I mean, I can tell you from Johnny Jewel to the Human League, to the Pixies, to Joy Division, to Charlie Garcia, to Rachmaninoff. I don't know, like we're very eclectic in that way. Like since we are also producing this thing, I mean, it's a two-way process because on one thing, when you're composing, you need a lot of like solitude and introspection. But when you're producing, you need to be open to new experience because you need to understand what's going on, what's around you, what do you like from there, or how do you imagine the world around you, and that demands it, to be open to a lot of things. I don't know, like one of the crazy ideas with like how to edit the kick came from this Italian trap artist called Mischetta, from Mischetta. I mean, I don't know, it's like totally weird song, and I was like, wow, I want that. Or I love the way they sampled this old song. Let's try incorporate it because I think it makes everything, glue it together. So I think anything that gives you goosebumps or inspires you, I think that's the starting point for us for inspiration.
With that point of the kind of production and composition, though, since you're doing both of that, do you find you have? Is there any trouble you find in kind of balancing those two perspectives? Like
All the time.
Yeah. Could you speak on that?
Yeah, all the time. It's really, you need a lot of peace around you when you are writing because then you need to in my opinion, you need to direct an idea towards a focus or a target or whatever. You need to give shape to that. You need to build dynamics. You need to go from point A to B, but in between you stop at C, D, E. You have many stops on the way. And then when you're producing and writing, it's very important that you go see live shows. You go do this and that, and you need to socialize. And then when you spend 3 months closed in the studio writing, you go out to socialize and you don't know how. So how you been your life? Yeah, man, I just don't leave the studio. So it's, and music is a very interactive process. You are interacting with people and emotions all the time. It's an exchange. So it's very difficult where to draw the line and how to keep yourself healthy and mentally ready to do this, to perform these tasks to a level that you're happy with. Yeah.
Now, kind of drawing it back, I'm curious, what has kind of been the musical journey for both of you? Like, how did you get into music? What was there a certain, did you start playing a band when you were 14? Did you just decide on a whim to do it when you're 20? How did each of you get into music?
Yeah, there's not much we know. There's not much else that we like to do, I guess. I don't know, I had I used to work in companies where being in an office I felt really suffocated. I really like the engineering part of music, dealing with cables, listening to music, reflecting on that. I like writing, I like watching movies, and it's all feels kind of like the same process. And I do feel I want to make something that is not merely consumption, that is not, I know it might sound a bit ethereal, but I believe that there is much more to just being consuming and having this robotic kind of life, and I think it's a huge challenge. So why not?
What about for you?
Well, I started making music as a way of finding a way to express myself, and also it came like really naturally. Something I find really interesting is that over the years I've been picking up instruments to because of some bands that I want to play this music. I want to play Philip Glass, so I start to learn how to play piano, but then I incorporate it to a different type of music, and to me that. Was like unlocking different levels inside me, and that is it's like changing your glasses, or don't know how to describe it in a way that can be understood, but yeah,
Like putting on new lenses or something.
yeah.
I guess on that note, how did Minimal Schlager get formed? Because from what I understand, your first single was back in 2022, so it's been a few years now. How did it all get formed? And
Well, we've done music all our life together, so we started the project and it was developed this way. We were our first label, or our label that has released everything so far. He's a friend of mine from Berlin, and he has released very big German bands. And once over a beer, like we say, hey, do you want to do this? I was like, yeah, sure. And then when we were about to release the first songs, COVID started. We couldn't play live. We couldn't do anything. So we started a bit as a studio project and tried to find our identity through live performance. But it was really weird at the beginning. So I think that the maturity of the band is finally becoming more mature now than it was with our first releases like 2-3 years ago.
nice. And I mean, you also mentioned that you are based both in London and Berlin. Has that always been kind of the setup? Has that been something more recent, or?
I've been living in Berlin for the last 10 years, and you 11 something, 11 and a half. Yeah, so yeah.
All right. And I guess one thing I'm doing is I'm trying to talk to a lot of international artists as I'm down here. Being from Minnesota, most people kind of skip over our part of the country. And one thing I'm kind of curious is is trying to get a little better understanding of the music scenes where people come from. How would you say you fit into the music scenes you're a part of?
Well, in Berlin, I am surrounded by musicians. Let's say there is a very cool scene of DIY. So there is a lot of shows that self-organize. There's a lot of talent there. There's a lot of raw, amazing music, and we do try to collaborate a lot. I run a recording studio, so I usually invite friends over to record and learn from them and exchange ideas. We were very lucky to be invited to very iconic venues and to play regularly there, to have certain residencies like venues like 8mm or Loophole or Schokoladen, which they have been there for 10, 15, 20 years. Everybody has played there, huge bands. And we're happy to say that we're part of this scene that is very supportive, and we have each other's back. Yeah.
Do you have anything you have to add, or?
Yeah, in that sense, my experience with the London scene, for example, is quite similar. Like lots of talent, lots of people doing things that, and very supportive as well.
Now, for you, I'm curious. Were you in Berlin at all before London, or did you just move to London from somewhere else?
Sorry, we don't really like to talk too much about private life.
That's totally fine. I guess the one thing I was curious about.
I don't know what it has to do so much.
Yeah.
Music,
Is I was going to ask is I was just talking to a band recently who used to be in Berlin and moved to London.
Which band?
Friedberg.
Okay.
And I was just gonna ask a question about relating to if you noticed any differences between the scenes.
Of course. I mean, every place has its own history, and like in Berlin, like the tradition is more toward punk, punk rock, very rough. While in London, it's a bit more diverse because also they have a very different history. Berlin has become one city like only 25, 30 years ago, so you still see this difference between West and East. In this sense, the industry in London has a bigger presence, so it means that there is a bigger amount of people that dedicates to music professionally than in Berlin. This means that you have more studios to choose from, you have more engineers, more producers, but in a different way. Germany works like the music industry in Germany has a lot more advantages than in the UK. So yeah, I mean, like, we're very happy to be present in both, but it's not that I would never say that one is better than the other. Mm-hmm. They're very different, but yeah.
All right then. I guess one thing. I'm getting to the last few questions here.
Yeah.
Don't want to take up too much of your time.
No worries.
But I'm curious if is there a reason you chose the name Minimal Schlager? Does that mean anything to you? From my understanding, relatively small understanding, Schlager is a genre of music that did exist in Germany at one point. Does it have any relation to that, or?
I mean, Schlager is the biggest kind of music in Germany. Like, Schlager is like as big as country music is in the US. So it's a very German-speaking oriented music. Very fast, very electronic nowadays, and it's beautiful because every German person is somehow relates to Schlager. Mm-hmm. So you have old people that loves like artists like Helen Fischer, for example, that is like a Schlager artist right now. Mm-hmm. To little kids, like that's when they're first, they go to like barbecues and they have the Schlager like, super loud in the house, and so it's like sometimes the first introduction to that. And the composition of Schlager is quite ornamented in a sense, It has a lot of arrangements, and so our music is basically, if you think of it as synth-pop, we're doing minimal synth-pop in this sense, Like, it's very like, it took a lot of things, but we did put more of a like lyrical presence and more theatrical presence than Schlager is. So yeah, the name kind of like, I don't know, what we think about the name or why we took it, I don't know, like it's an ongoing process for the last 3-4 years. We like, I don't know, like if you ask me like next year or in 2 years, I might give you a different answer maybe, I don't know.
Do you have anything to add to that?
Nope.
Perfect.
Thanks so much, man.
Yeah, and I guess one last question I'm having. Every international artist I'm also asking, what are kind of 3 artists that you would recommend? It could be from anywhere in the world. It can be from the scenes you're in that you think people should be listening to right now. I hope you don't say an American artist. We got a lot of those over here, but.
No, I will tell you like a British one. Our friend Oliver Marson.
I was thinking of the same name actually. Amazing.
Great guy.
What type of music does he do?
I don't know, man. It's kind of like pulp, like the Britpop, but like in a Roxy music kind of way with a lot of synths, and like he's just crazy and rough and sweet. I don't know. I love that guy. Berlin artist, I would say, well, they are in a hiatus right now. Solo project of Dane Jo. She's amazing. She's so experimental and she's so sweet and cute, and what she does is like, I don't know how to define it, but like, she's amazing.
Also, someone we met 2 years ago when we came, Marta del Grande.
Yeah, Marta, yeah.
She's also an incredible artist, incredible voice, and her songwriting is spectacular.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys. That's all I have.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, this has been Minimal Schlager with Radio K, Real College Radio.
Ciao.